Hey, it's Todd Gross. By popular demand, I'm making this video for you. This is going to be some advanced level training on how to get rid of backgrounds in tough situations when you run into a background that isn't perfect and you have trouble getting rid of it. Well, this is the video to watch because I'm going to show you how to tweak it, not only with VideoPal, but if you run into extreme trouble, how to even use Camtasia to be able to remove that background. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the Camtasia training that has just come out. It's very, very inexpensive. It's under $10. So if you have that particular software for your video editing, Camtasia, you'll want to pay attention to that product. The link to that is underneath this video. And lastly, I'm actually going to do some special green screen removal tricks inside Camtasia, so that if you do have that software, you'll get to see me do something that probably nobody else has ever shown you. It's something I stumbled into, and it's a way to get around some of the background problems in extreme circumstances, and that is not available inside that special training for Camtasia. So that will, of course, supplement that product. All right, so basically this is for VideoPal, of course, though. So let's start out there right now. All right, here we are inside VideoPal. So I click on New Project and then My Videos. That leads us to here. I want to choose a new video, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to scroll down, look to see if I could find something short, under 2 minutes, and not terribly large. By the way, you can use the product Handbrake to shrink videos that are large in size. All right, so for instance, earlier today, I took a video that was 1 gigabyte and shrunk it to 20 megabytes by running it through Handbrake. Okay, so now I'm going to go and take this. It looks like this is probably short because it says Todd Test, and anything that says test on it is probably pretty short. And I'm uploading it right now, and it should show up in our files section, of course, our videos section, in just a moment. And there it is. Now, it uploaded it to VideoPal, but it has a problem. Now, I didn't do this ahead of time, okay? So I didn't know this was going to happen. But it tried to remove the green background of the video, and it wasn't successful. So that's perfect for our test. So just like a video I did a couple of weeks ago, I could show you how we could remove that. But this time, I'm going to show you the advanced way to do it. So let me just close that for a second so I could show you what I did. I chose this settings bar or settings wheel right here, okay, by hovering over the video, and I clicked on it. And last week, you'll remember I got rid of any remaining green just by playing with the similarity right here. So let's see if that works. And that seems not to be working. Why? Because as I'm getting rid of the green, you could see that my chin is disappearing at the same time. So now that I've just about got rid of the green, now I'm messing myself up. Now there is a way to actually fix that. So this is a perfect video to show as an example. So I'm going to bring the similarity back to where it was. It was down here somewhere. And I'm going to click on this. So the first step is to click Choose Background Color. Now remember, if all else fails, I'm going to show you another trick inside Camtasia later in this video. But let's see if we could get away with it by just choosing background color. I think we can. All right, so we choose background color, and that means the green, the original green, is going to come back, or whatever the background was behind your video. All right, it came back, and now what we need to do is click anywhere on here that is about halfway between the extremes of the background. So we see a very dark green here and a very light green over here. Now I'm also going to show you later in this video that light green works better with VideoPal than dark green. But right now, for the purposes that we're trying to do, we want to come somewhere in between the dark and the light. All right, so let's choose something in between like this. All right, and that actually worked. Now let's see if it really worked throughout the video by moving the video along. So that's what this does right here. So we want to make sure that I'm there, and here you can see I failed. All right, I'm not there anymore. You see I'm starting to disappear on the edges. So let's see if we could work on that. Now we also see a little bit of green showing up in the light green area here. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to get rid of that or not. So let's see if we can. And I'll try to do it by playing with the similarity. I'm going to move the similarity up and down. That made it worse. This made it worse. And in between is also worse. There's nothing that I can really do based on where I chose the background color in between. So instead, let's try to pick a darker background color and see if it works. So now I'm going to choose a darker background color like this over here. Now that looks like it has some hope. It's not terrible. Let's move it back to the original beginning. You could see that my camera also made a mistake in that I had more color, more flesh tones early on, and I lost some of my color, some of my saturation later in the video. My camera actually does that to me sometimes. You see that, how I fade out compared to earlier in the video? All right, so we're almost there. Let's find a particularly bad area. As you can see, there's like a lot of green around my face here, and there's some green stripes starting to show up. Let's see if we could get rid of it with the similarity by moving this, which is the most important thing to tweak. Kind of, sort of. You know, what happened here, of course, is I got rid of the green in the background, but now there's still a little bit around my face. Let's see what happens if I play with the blend, the secondary setting. And that kind of makes me so I have some opacity. That doesn't really seem to be helping all that much. You could see that I've improved it quite a bit from the original, but I haven't quite gotten there in terms of making this perfect. So what's the answer? I chose a background color and I tweaked it. I could try again. I could try a very light background color. Let's try that. If I try a very light background color, now I have this that I have to get rid of. Let's see if I could get rid of that. I'm doing pretty good here. Now let me move it back and forth through the video. And I have not been able to remove all of it. As you can see, there's a little bit left here. So there was really an error in the video that I imported that made this problem happen. So I'm still trying. And I kept playing with the similarity until I finally got rid of it. But now I'm afraid as I move through the video to later on that I may have some problems. Let's see. Yeah, you see I started to disappear. All right, so there's actually no saving this video totally. I'm not actually able to fix the video. And the only way that I'm going to be able to fix it totally is if I actually do it in an outside program. So you have a couple of choices. Either A, you give up on this video and you do another one with a different kind of background, let's say a brighter green background, by shifting the lighting and making sure that it's more uniform. Or B, you could actually try to replace the background with something totally different and then re-import it into VideoPal and see if you have any more luck that way. And you know what? That always works. But let's see if we'll actually be able to save that video by going inside Camtasia. And when I'm inside Camtasia, we'll actually look at how to get rid of green screen background in Camtasia. We'll see how to do that there. I'll show you the controls and everything. Okay, so I'm inside my Camtasia for Mac version 3, which is almost identical to the Windows version, which is now version 9. And I'm going to actually import that same file into Camtasia, Movie Todd Test 1. And let me get rid of this one that's in here and put in the one from before that we were having trouble with. And this is the same one. You can see bright on the left, dark on the right. That's what was giving us so much trouble. Let's see if I'll be able to get that all fixed. Now, we want to replace the background in the end so that it is all pretty much a bright green. And the way to do that is very interesting. And let me show you. We have tested extensively with this particular color. It is 34ED09 in terms of its hex number. If you go to the site colorhex.com, you could put that in and you'll get this bright Kelly green. Now, to be honest, any bright Kelly green will work. But if you put those numbers in, if you just jot those down and put those numbers in, it will return this bright Kelly green. All right, so I've actually imported a Kelly green color that I had already saved, and I'm going to put that in my timeline underneath my video, like this. Okay, so the video on top inside Camtasia. In case you have Camtasia, you know that you have different tracks. I'm going to put the Kelly green track underneath this track, the main one, which is track 3. So I'm going to put in track 2. And that will show up later, because right now it's in the background. Now I'm going to have to extend it out. Let me explain what I mean. If I move my video over, you'll see that my Kelly green wasn't large enough. So I'm going to do a scale to fit and then stretch it out so it covers the entire canvas. All right? So there it is in the background. Now I'm putting my other video on top of it, right? I'm putting my video that we were having trouble with before on top of the Kelly green. So what we're going to do is get rid of our green and replace it with this green by chroma keying out the green behind me. All right, so now I've showed you, of course, that we have a background video and a foreground video. And I'm going to show you how to remove the background from your foreground video so that the brighter color of the background video is going to show, and that will be automatically removed in VideoPal. Now, this takes some tweaking in Camtasia as well, but I know a specific trick in Camtasia that will make it go much smoother. I'll show you what happens here when I actually try to remove the color, and I'll show you how to do that. You click on this inside Camtasia. I want you to look very closely. You click on Visual Effects. All right. So if you've never done that, click on Visual Effects, and then this shows up, Remove a Color. You want to actually take this and apply it to the video just by carrying it over and dropping it on the video. So now in the right-hand side, if I click on Properties like this, we now have the Remove a Color section. It has now come up and it is ready. The only thing you really need to know in Remove a Color is the tolerance. The softness, the hue, the defringe, you could play with those, but that could drive you crazy. You really only need to be able to choose a color by clicking this right here, and then that brings up a little eyedropper. Let me see if I could show you the eyedropper. You see the eyedropper right there? Okay, I'm going to move this over. There. Okay, so you click this, you pick the eyedropper because you're going to pick a color, and you're going to pick this color right here, I guess somewhere halfway in between the dark and the light like we did before. And at first glance, it looks like we've gotten rid of the foreground and now the background has taken over and I'm beautifully set against it. But remember, my lighting was changing during the video. So as we move the bar right here, left and right, you could see that all of a sudden I lose it. All right, that's not good. Now the way to tweak it would be with tolerance. But this is just like we were doing before. The similarity button inside VideoPal is similar to tolerance in Camtasia. Now, fortunately, in this case, it seems to be working better. I was able, by playing with it, to get rid of the problem. All right? So now that bright color is there all the time. Now, if I still had problems, even at this point, there's a trick inside Camtasia that very few people know about, that I discovered. I read about it, and then I played with it, and I played with it some more, and the latest version of Camtasia, it's a beautiful thing, and I will show you that later in this video. But right now, I'm going to render this video and import it into VideoPal and see if we can't get this removed 1, 2, 3, now that we've actually placed our new color background there. All right? So we had a little more control by doing this inside Camtasia than we did in VideoPal. And in an extreme circumstance like this, where the video was so poor that I imported in, I needed to go to Camtasia or another program like Camtasia to actually get the other background, the bright green background, going here, so that this was going to become a much easier import. So I'm going to actually render it right now. It's in the upper right where it says share. I'm sure you know this. If you have Camtasia, then you're going to do local file, and then at this point I'm going to just render it using export to main concept MP4. That's how I would do it. Okay, so let's try this again. I'm going to be right where I was before, a new project, my videos, choose a new video. There's Todd Test. I'm going to try to import that now. And it came right up. Now, at this point, so far so good. It looks like it removed the background. Let's check it out. Yep, we're all checkerboard behind me. We're going to move the video to halfway through. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, I fade a little bit because it was a terrible video that I shot, but I'm still there. I'm in one piece. A little bit green around the edges, perhaps. But I'm certainly doing way better than before. All right, now, if we did want to tweak it, remember how to tweak it. We click this, choose background color. In this case, that's not going to be tough because all the colors are the same. All right, we took care of that. And then we could tweak this similarity. Let's see if we could get rid of some of the green fringing. I'm bringing similarity the other way this time, bringing it to the left, seeing if that helps. That seems to be making it worse, so I'm going to go this way to the right. And that seems to be helping a little bit. Yep, I got rid of some of the green. I'm losing a little bit of my arm over here, though. Let's back off a little bit. All right, that's better. And maybe I could just play with this blend. That's your last resort. Don't make the blend too strong because you're making yourself have some opacity. You're becoming ghostly when you do that. So you don't want to make that too strong. But I increased that a little bit to see if it helped. Let's move this along. Yeah, I think I went a little too strong with the similarity. I'll back off. And I'm showing up again where I was starting to be missing. All right. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. All right, so I'm not 100% happy because the video is shot so terribly. The beginning of the video has much different colors than, as you can see, I'm much more saturated than later on, which is where the difficulty was coming from. But we certainly did improve this video 1,000% from where we were before by having gone into Camtasia and playing with the background first and switching the background to that light green color. Again, the light green color I'm referring to is this, right? And then we were able to get rid of it much more easily. It was just so uniform that the software was able to get rid of it much more easily. So now we hit save, and now we have our improved video right here, and now we could just continue to use VideoPal. Now I promised you that I'd show you an advanced technique inside Camtasia. Now that we've gone through the advanced technique inside VideoPal, I told you that I'd show you a trick that I learned inside Camtasia that really is wild, all right? And I'm going to show you that right now. Now I'm back in Camtasia, and as you saw earlier, I was having just a little bit of leftover difficulty right in the middle here. Looks pretty darn good, but you saw that we still had a little bit of trouble inside VideoPal making it look perfect. Well, let's see if we can't really improve it even one step further, all right? And I'm going to use my trick to do so. Even if it doesn't help this video, it'll help you with other videos. Like I've been testing this all day, and I was able to really take some videos that I couldn't get the background out of there and I did this trick to do it. So what I'm doing right now here is I'm going back and setting everything back to where it was before. There is one thing that I have not done yet, though, and let me just show you how we got here. I'll remind you how we got here. I took this remove a color and I put it right onto the video. I dropped it onto the video like that, okay? Now, I got there by going to visual effects, which is over here. But there's one other visual effects that's related, and it's color adjustment. If you take color adjustment and drop it over, this is what you get. Now, you're going to need to take notes on this because it took me a long time to actually figure this out. Now I'm going back to properties on the lower right, okay, like this. And now not only do we have our adjustment to remove a color like we had before on the right. And remember, I said the only important things there really is tolerance and selecting the color. In my opinion, those are the two most important, is selecting the color and then choosing the tolerance. But also, now we have color adjustment, which has been thrown way off. And what I want to do is set it to 0 for brightness, which would be normal, 0 for saturation, which would be normal, and set the saturation to 100, plus 100. So now I've increased the saturation to a crazy point, okay? And that helps to bring out the contrast between the background and the foreground, or should I say, the background that's behind me in the foreground, because this obviously is a foreground image and that's the background image. But what I'm doing here is I'm taking myself and making myself have more contrast against what I was standing in front of. That's what I'm trying to say. And I did that by creating a very high saturation. If you look right here, on the right, you see that I increased the saturation to 100%. Now, I go to remove a color. I choose the color. I'm going to pick the eyedropper, like that. Now I'm going to choose what's a more uniform color than before. I'm going to make it halfway in between again. I'm going to click on it. Now, even though I clicked on it, nothing happened yet. Did you see it didn't affect the foreground? It hasn't disappeared. Now the tolerance is going to need to be moved even more. And now I'm getting rid of that background. Or should I say that foreground? But what's behind me in my foreground. And now let's move through the video and see how it looks. So even though the color on my face is changing because of the way the video is shot, I now completely, very clearly have that bright Kelly green backdrop behind me the whole time as I go through the video. I'm going left and right, back and forth. And it's looking pretty good. Pretty darn good. Now I could play with this a little more, the tolerance, and see how far it will take. And what I usually do is I go to as far as it will go before I start losing myself, and then I back it off a few percentage points. So you're looking at right here, 47%. I'll back it off to like 43. And then I'll test it by going back and forth through the video. I noticed that as I go back and forth through the video, I lost my shoulder just a tad right here. So I'm going to back off a little more, 43% or 42%. See that? Now I'm at 42. Now I'm going to go through the video again. And it's pretty clean. Now at this point, I'd render the video again, I'd import it into VideoPal again, and it would probably be even cleaner than what we saw before. All right? And this is my trick. My trick is to increase the saturation of the colors prior to removing the colors by using those color adjustments. Now, one more important thing, as a very last step, you need to bring your saturation back down. Now, you could decide where you want it, but usually you'd want it close to its original 0 point. I sometimes, when I'm oversaturated or there's still some green fringing around my hair, I sometimes bring the saturation to under 0 to like -10 or 20. But at this point, let's bring it down to 0 and see how it looks by moving back and forth. Now, since I was so saturated at the beginning of the video and so non-saturated later on, I could actually improve it by picking a point where I'm beginning to lose the saturation, like right here. I could split it, and I could actually choose this portion right here on the left and back off the saturation just in that portion. So now I'm going to go back to the right, look for saturation, back it off about 18%. Now I'm less saturated. Let's see if it was too much of a jump by playing it by that edit. Content within existing templates, both on... And it wasn't a terrible jump, so I actually improved the video by decreasing the saturation at the beginning so it matches closer to the rest of the video. Now, if you want to learn basic things about Camtasia, you probably own it. If you don't, you may want to get it. It's a great program for screen capture and for making videos. Or if you just want to know how to monetize videos in general, you could learn about using Snagit and Jing and other things that are free, even like Jing is free. Then that software that's right underneath this video, that link that you see right underneath, is from Jeff. Jeff is a friend of mine who has put together some fantastic videos, a whole training course on how to make money with Camtasia and other pieces of video software. So that's my VideoPal training for today. I hope this helped. I threw in some Camtasia training as well in honor of that new product that just came out, since the stuff that I just showed you isn't in that product. He does have some green screen training on the inside on OTO number 2, but he doesn't show that special trick that I just showed with the saturation. That's something I discovered on my own, and I wanted to make sure that you saw it, since it related so directly to what we could put inside VideoPal in tough situations. So let's say you go to Fiverr and you hire somebody and they give you back a video that was as bad as the one that I just made, that I just showed you. You have some options here. You could either go back to them and say, do it over, or you could actually tweak it yourself. And even though it took me a certain number of minutes just now to tweak it, as I said, it will become second hat. You'll be able to do it quickly and save the video from oblivion.